Hi, Omar Miramontes here, and we're here to talk about antiques. Um, I'm about to give you guys a couple pointers, teach you a couple tips that might actually help you when you're out there hunting down treasures for yourself. Now, I'm going to start off with early Americana. What do you guys know about this? Okay, is it a vase? What is this thing? Is it an urn? Yeah, well, just in case you don't know, these are um turn oh my god, this is like over 200 years old. Okay. um the reason I know this is because it has no markings on the bottom, has no markings anywhere on the piece letting me know which manufacturer, which potter house it came from. So what I do know is this: pieces prior to 1860 all had to come with a made in, and then the country that it came from, its origin. Um, Also, after 1860, the crocks, okay, this is a half-gallon crock. Uh, they all came marked that way so you would know. Obviously, the bigger the crock, the more expensive the value. Um, Whether it had, I mean, they all came with lids originally, but nowadays, like, to find the lids is pretty impossible. Not saying that they're not out there. They are out there, and you're gonna pay a steeper fee for them. But let's get to what we know here. I can tell you that anytime you see a piece that has handles and the handles are marked with stripes like that, okay, you're looking at a West Ward. Is the name of the company. It's a German company. Um, Now these things were used. I mean, you had to have Crocs back in the day. This is where you kept your food. You know, this is where you would put in your salted meats. This is where you put in your dried fruits. This is where you would put your coffee, your tobacco. I mean, these things were used for everything in order to keep vermin and bugs away. Um, they would be pot, obviously they would have their lids, and that is how you kept your food from spoiling or going bad. Now, something like this, okay, because it has no marking, okay, everything after 1810 had to have a maker's mark. The reason we know what this is because I've done my research. I know the eggplant. I am very familiar with the way that this has been not just thrown, but fired. This is what is known as a salt glaze. Okay, so it's a salt glazed crock dating back prior to 1810. Something like this would have a value of $1,500 to $3,000 at auction. Um, some Crocs can go up to $400,000. So there's a lot of money to be made in Crocs still. Okay, because they're very sought after, they're very coveted, and people want that early Americana feel in their house. So again, what did we learn today? We learned what Crocs were used for. We learned that these come from Germany with the stripes on the handles. And we also learned that anything prior to 1810 does not have a mark. Uh, One cool thing to know about Westerwald pottery um, is that it was one of the very first companies that was importing stuff here. You got to remember, the country was founded in 1776. So from 1776 to 1810, that gives us you about 34 years. So there's a 34-year window when this was brought in by people who were settling here in America for the very first time. And this is one of the items that would have come along, over the Atlantic Ocean. Uh, and I'm happy that it's made its way here um, to California, okay, because this is pretty cool. Um, Most of the times, these will be found in big cities, okay? They've been collected and coveted for, you know, a long, long time. Movie stars had them out here in California. So that's why I'm thinking it's how this got out here. In New York, in Dallas, Chicago, San Francisco, these are where you find these. You can find them in other areas such as Yorktown. Okay, you can find them all throughout New England. Uh, Crocs eventually became a very popular thing. So during the 1800s, there were seven big companies here in America that were competing, for um, the business, but nothing like a good old fashioned, you know, Westerwald piece of pottery. So again, now you know what to do with the when you see these. Okay. Also, a good thing to know is that the cobalt blue is always added prior to the glaze. Okay, that's how one way to spot a fake. Um, and the salt glaze is always going to have a feel to it. Where it almost uh, feels like a granulated um, roughness to it. Now, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about today. Second thing I wanted to talk about today is this. Now, you might be wondering, what is that? Okay, as you can see here, it does have some one tiny little minor chip right here. Very, very minor. And it does show signs of wear, you know, healthy, normal wear and tear that you would have on an item. Um, I can already tell you one thing about this. This is made in the 1900s to 1925, meant to look like it was from the 1400s, pre-Columbian. Is it pre-Columbian? No, it's not. Does it still have decorative value? Absolutely, absolutely. Something like this would go for around $200 to $300 still. But you can see that the person who had this before actually was using it. It has wear here, where if you were using it like this as a cup, you would see that there's that that there's wear there. Also on both sides. So this is a cup that was being shared by people who were both left and right-handed. Hence the marks, which is more of a community ceremonial uh, watering scoop. Um, I've also seen these used where you put sage on the inside and then you use it for smudging, with sage. Um, Also can be used for medicine. So if you are boiling sage and cedar, uh, lavender to make a mixture after a sweat lodge. This would be your drinking vessel. Again, if you pay attention to really the look at the terracotta along here, that color still looks too new for me. Um, I'm not buying it as pre-Columbian. I know it's not pre-Columbian, but I can tell you that it was definitely made at the early of last century. You know, 1900 and 1925. Again, $200 to $300. Now we're going to take you somewhere else. Indigenous. This here is a bird. Okay. Now this bird is indigenous to the Solomon Islands. Okay. What's rad about this is that it is known as a dancing wand. Okay. So, where are the Solomon Islands? I'll tell you, they are by New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, near New Zealand, Australia. Um, People have been there, you know, like, I want to say like before Christ, you know. Uh, Actually, before any Westerners, any Europeans got to the Solomon Islands, the Lapita people were known to have been headhunters and cannibals. So this would have been, you know, danced around with probably after a meal or during a war, a battle. Um, this is a stone. Okay, it's a striking stone. Probably used to start the fires, sacred fire, being held together by sinew. I'd say it's a beautiful, beautiful piece here. Maybe dating back to 1930s, 1940s. I want to say um, after the Audubon got exposure, the Book of the Birds, um, and people started finding out about the frigate, it opened up a lot of doors to travel. So I do believe this might have been something that wasn't exactly meant as a souvenir. Like, here you go, we sell these like a TJ. No, this was more like somebody met somebody and became friends with that person and brought home something special. Um, yeah, something like this estimated value would probably be around $600 to $800. Okay, now I'm gonna bring you something, get you over to Spain. Now, what you see here is kind of cool. Everything here, this beautiful uh, Damascene, is known as, well, it's Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. And it's made in 18 karat gold and 24 karat gold. Even all the things here along the frame is gold. Pure gold. 24 carats and 18 carats. That's how you're able to like see the shadowing and the yeah, the contrast helps with the detail a lot better. Anyway, for antiques, you've learned a couple things about a couple items, and again, knowledge is power. Peace, everybody. If you are interested in any of the things that I have shown you today, I could be reached at getomarnow@yahoo.com. Getomarnow@yahoo.com. Thanks. Peace.